In this video, we'll talk about the code that went behind that they are billions clone that I showed in the last video. Here's a picture of that game window, and here's the code example5.py on the right. This code here on the right is extremely simple, and it's because I did the same thing with the code that I did with my room when I was younger. If I had some like trash or toys, I would just pick them all up and put them in the closet, and that's what I did here. So this is my room as you would see it when you walk in. It's nice and organized, although I guess I put 0 comments in there, so that's no good. You got to put comments in. And this is the closet full of toys. Okay, well, we'll go through this bit by bit, and we'll hit whichever parts I think were interesting. All right. So we've got pygame.init, same as before. Clock equals pygame.time.clock. Okay, that's for setting the frame rate, which I set to 20 frames per second. I wanted it to feel lively when the user goes to click somewhere on the screen. If you set it down to 5 or 10 frames per second, then it feels really sluggish. The downside of that was that I have the time ticking forward 1 hour per frame, so that means that 24 hours in the day makes it kind of too fast, so I made it 100 hours in the day, and well, I don't know, maybe you've got a better idea. Maybe you make the time increment quarter hours or something. It's probably a much smarter way to do this. Moving on, we do this event in pygame.event.get again, just like before. We allow for the possibility that the user has closed the window. We check mouse buttons. If you did press the mouse button, then it checks to see if you've got L shift held down, because I found out in playtesting that if you needed to build 100 houses, it was really annoying to have to click the house button 100 times. So you can hold the L shift and then it'll set repeats to 10. Otherwise it sets repeats to 1. And then for R in range repeats, it just handles the click that many times. So it literally just issues that many click commands. And this object G is an instance of the type game, which comes from this screen object closet full of stuff. So I've tried to make it very clean looking over here. So you've got g.handleClick, and you just tell it where you clicked in coordinates on the screen. And it does everything from there. It tries to find out if you clicked one of these buttons or if you clicked somewhere on the map. So it does all that stuff with g.handleClick, and it'll just effectively click 10 times if you are holding down the L shift button. Then the other thing is the space key. You can pause the game. And so it's so simple here. The simulation of the game, if you're not paused, then it does g.nextMoment to update the game to the next frame. That's it. That's the whole thing. And if g.battle equals 0, then going equals false. So if you let this battle number get down to 0, then it just shuts down the whole game. So that's its way of telling you that you lose. I didn't bother even implementing this goal to have 8 military per perimeter by day 100. I didn't even, because you know, it's a game balance thing, and I feel like the honor system is good enough at this stage. We can just play the game and then count up and see if you got to that value at the end, and if you did, you pat yourself on the back. I mean, if you make the game yourself, then you're not really rewarding yourself by making a victory screen. At least that's the way I see it. So it's not actually implemented. It's like a trick of some kind. Oh, I worked so hard, and now what? There's no victory screen? Okay, so that's how you lose. There's no real way to win. If g.render at right, so then there's the rendering function. It just asks the game to render the whole game, and it takes in the mouse current position, and that handles the mouse over effect that you see here. Like, I'm not clicking right now, but there is still a pygame.mouse.getPause. So if my mouse is in a place where I could expand the colony, so not on a black tile, not too close to the edge, has to be on the map, all these little rules, then it'll go ahead and try to draw these placement tiles, which you could say are like a user convenience, but I tried to put into this game all those things which, if it didn't have it in there, it would make it just hellishly frustrating. Like if you didn't know which tiles you were going to get when you expand, that would be really irritating, because that's like the whole game right there. So you'd be guessing, and you'd be like measuring on your computer with a pair of calipers or a bottle cap or something. It would really stink. Okay, so that's a basic overview of the parts of this game, and in the next video we'll open up this closet full of stuff and we'll see what's in there. Okay, see you soon.